you really love doing the spoken words tour. How did that start?
How did it start?
Yeah. Was it like Henry Rollins calling you, "Hey guy"?
No, no. I got asked to do a show in London, and I said yes. It was that simple because I felt like it just seemed interesting to me, and I was curious just to see if I could stand on a stage and entertain people with just me and a microphone, and how it would go. And I ended up enjoying it so much that one time that then I asked my agent, I'd like to do more of this. Let's see if we could plan some shows, when I have some time in between Anthrax. And so I've been doing it when I can, because I just really enjoy getting on stage and having all that responsibility and basically just entertaining people with talking about my last 35 years of my life or something.
You did a lot of talking with other great rock stars. Who would you say were like the greatest storytellers that you've met?
Well, Lemmy, for sure. I would pay money to see Lemmy do a show like I'm doing. I think the coolest thing would be him just sitting in a chair with a table and a bottle of whiskey and a cigarette and his slot machine and him just telling stories for 3 hours. I think there's a fucking fortune to be made. Everyone who wouldn't go see that show.
Exactly.
You would go.
Oh, definitely.
So yeah, Lemmy by far. If I had to name one guy, but certainly, the list goes on and on. Every dude that's been in a band for a long time is going to have amazing stories, and I would love to see Bruce Dickinson do it. I think he would be amazing at telling stories. He is amazing at telling stories. I would love to see Keith Richards. There's so many dudes that I would love to see do it.
How is it being the son-in-law of Meatloaf? Meatloaf, put it that way. You made him a grandfather.
Yeah, he is. My son calls him Papa Meat. He's a great dude. I wish I had. People, I guess, maybe have an expectation that, like, we set up a stage in the backyard and jam Bat Out of Hell every day, but it's not like that. When we hang out, we're probably mostly talking about movies and sports, actually, like most people do.
So you do play softball once in a while?
We haven't in a long time, but I would like to.
Back to the 80s tape trading. Do you still have a collection of tapes from then?
They're all in boxes and they're all in storage, and I probably haven't seen them in about 25 years.
Wow, you should have a look at them.
Yeah, it would be nice to have time to go dig through storage to look at old cassette tapes. Someday when I have an extra 2 hours to do that,
you could hire people. Go through those tapes, guys. I would. Just give me a call. Being raised in Queens, how was it playing a sold-out show at the Yankee Stadium?
That's the high point, for me. It's definitely the coolest thing we've ever done as a band. It does. As a New Yorker, it really doesn't get any bigger than that. There's no venue on the planet that would impress me more to play than Yankee Stadium. So, in a weird way, it's kind of all downhill now from there. It's kind of weird to think that I will never be as impressed as this. I will never be as nervous about playing a show ever again in my life as I was to play at Yankee Stadium. So, but that's a really cool thing to have done. Like I said, as a kid growing up in New York and as a lifelong Yankee fan, it's definitely the coolest thing I've ever done.
Can you share with our viewers about your experience of having played with rock legends like Roger Daltrey and Dimebag Darrell, to pick two?
Well, first and foremost, Darrell was a friend of ours. We go back a long time, so any time we get to spend with Darrell was just always a lot of fun. Whether it was just hanging out or going to the movies or going out drinking or strip clubs or playing in the studio or on tour together, it's weird because I never thought my time with Daryl was going to come to an end. And so when I look back on the 19 years that I was friends with him or something, that time becomes even that much more special now. Any time I got to spend with him becomes really special because he's not here anymore, obviously. So with Daryl, it was he was such an amazing human, and just so much fun to be around all the time. If you never got to meet him, it sucks, because in my life, he was someone who was really, really special. One of those people that you meet and you just love being around that guy. Anytime you were in a room with Daryl, he made you feel better. R.J.Dio in much the same way. Ronnie was a guy who just made you feel great when you were around them. He always made sure to take care of everyone else around him first. He was just such a great host and such a lovely man. And always had something great to say. Then after you would be with him, you would just be like, God damn, I love being around that guy. You just felt better about yourself afterwards. And Ronnie and Daryl very much the same way. Just amazing people to be around. Yeah, Roger Daltrey too. There's a dude I never thought I would meet in my life, and I got to hang out with him a bunch, and same thing too. Like, talk about a guy that's got stories, man. Holy, the guy starts telling you stories about sitting in a room watching Jimi Hendrix playing the whole Beatles White Album, like the day it came out, on his guitar, and George Harrison is standing right there singing the parts, and I'm like, it's hard to get your fucking head around it, and there's someone who should go tell stories on stage. He's a fucking legend. It's literally like, I'm not a religious man, but when you're standing in a room with guys like that, and guys like Jimmy Page and Gene Simmons, and I got to meet Paul McCartney one time. I didn't have a conversation, but I shook his hand, and that was like, it's the closest I could compare to, like, gods that are walking the earth with us. Granted, I know they're just humans that fucking bleed the same color I do, but the shit they've done and they've experienced in their lifetimes, it just can't be touched. It's just insane. Hey, what's up? This is Scott Ian from Anthrax, and you're watching MULATSCHAG, the only TV you'll ever need.